So a case in point for registered nurses, how is the pathway? Because I know you've not been in the journey, but I understand with the vast knowledge you have and experience, the challenges which they go through. How is the pathway? I just know they need to do an NCLEX exam, and I think like right now there's a lot of visa retrogression. Can you be able to expand on what you know about that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think for the registered nurses, it is straightforward. When you finish, you have to get your papers done, credentials done, and that is done by CGFNS if you want to go to the US, or it is done by NNAS if you want to go to Canada. So you have to send your papers for credentialing, and it is not you who sends, it is your school that sends, but you have to initiate the process and you have to pay some money for it. I keep saying sometimes here in Africa we don't have that kind of money that we can be able to sponsor ourselves or through, so that is why the agencies are here. And I think there's quite a number of agencies. There is Avant, there is MedPro, there is Interstaff, there is O-Grade Payton, there is Passport USA.
Passport USA.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, all these ones are taking people to the US. The terms and conditions can be different, but for me, I keep saying whatever this agent gives you with the right hand, the other agency takes it with the left hand. I mean, it is just, they're trying just to balance, but they're almost offering almost the same thing. But what I know is that if you're sponsoring yourself, it can be very, very expensive. And also, even if you sponsor yourself to do that NCLEX, you will at some point still require someone to file for you or the immigration work, because the embassies are not easy. So I advise people to sign up with an agency, get your papers, credentials done, and then once credentials are done, then you take your NCLEX. Not easy at all, but we have very good success rate here in Kenya than many other countries. I've spoken to people in the West, especially the white people, and they tell you, I did that exam like 6 times. And Kenyans are here walking in and doing it once and passing. So you have a good chance of passing. And even if you have failed, give it another shot. Give it another shot. Yeah. There is no need to give up. Take your NCLEX again. And once you do your NCLEX, your papers will be filed with the American Embassy or Canadian Embassy or whichever embassy you want to work with. And the waiting starts. What the trick here is to make sure you're in the queue. Because it's only when you're in the queue that you can be reached at. If you're not in the queue, you cannot be reached at. So even if retrogression is going to 2019, just go ahead and be in the queue. Because if you look at mainland China and India, I think India right now they're in 2012. So maybe in future we will be that India, we will be that mainland China. So put yourself in line as early as now. And then wait, because even if you don't do the NCLEX, even if you do not put yourself in the line, you'll still be here in Kenya waiting. So why do you want to put yourself in the line? You better
be in the queue. You better do the NCLEX and start the process.
Perfect. Be in the queue, and then when you're in the queue, is only then that you can be reached at. So I encourage people, especially the younger you are, the easier it is. Because when you're younger, you don't have so many responsibilities. You don't have a lot of family responsibilities and all that, which is not the case to many of us who qualified long time ago. We have to factor in more than you need to. So as soon as you qualify and you join the workforce, put yourself in the queue. And by all means, nursing in the US is extremely rewarding in all measures.
It's extremely,
rewarding.
Rewarding.
Yeah, it is extremely rewarding. So go there. I visited US at some point, but I just went for a business meeting, this NGO thing. And one thing for sure that I noticed in the state that I went, every other place, they were hiring someone. They are hiring, they are hiring, they are hiring, including the hospitals and non-hospital establishments. So that tells you there are many opportunities with less people. And if there are many opportunities with less people, then means you have the power to negotiate when you have a skill, which is not the case here. Here we have extremely qualified and skilled personnel, but they lack the power to negotiate because we are so many of us. And so that is how hospitals get away with paying nurses $20,000. So if you want to have that career and enjoy it, go where your skills are revered. And I believe the West does that. I think also there is also the pathway to Germany. Many people keep saying that Germany, you don't know the language, you don't know what and all that. But if you need something so bad, you will pursue it. So if studying German for 6 months will change your life, then go for it. I mean, if you studied all the anatomy and physiology and your brain can hold that, if you studied all the pharmacology and you have it in your head, what is German that you cannot get it? So if you're out there and wondering this queue for the US is too long, then just go to Goethe Institute, enroll for your German, whatever, training. Learn your German, put in your papers for Chancenkate, or even look for a school or something that takes you to Germany. And why not? You can still go there and start your career. And the good thing with the West, being in Canada does not stop you from going to US. Being in the US does not stop you from going anywhere else. So wherever entry point you use, you're still at an advantage than when you're away. And I'll tell people something that I've learned working with in the NGO sector. We are very, very competent here in Africa. We have the best brain there is, but our passport does not support us for too much. That means if you're able to get another passport, you diversify your opportunities. So
that means you get another country's passport, sorry?
Yeah, for example, if I had a US passport right now, I would ask for jobs that I cannot be able to get from here with my passport. There are some places I cannot enter. There are some countries who will straight up say, you cannot come here with that passport. And that changes once you have more than one passport. So with my Kenyan passport, there are an array of countries that I can go with it without needing a visa or without needing so much scrutiny. If I have another passport, let's say a US passport, I increase the number of those countries maybe threefold. I can go to so many places, live and work because I have an alternative passport. So especially for the older health workers, I keep telling them, get your children another passport. It will help. So if you don't want to take that NCLEX for you, then you can take it from the family.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So what about other countries? Maybe because I also understand at some point you are working in I don't know whether it's the Far East or the Middle East. I can't remember what you are saying in your videos. Are there also opportunities for healthcare workers, maybe in countries like, is it Saudi Arabia you are in? I'm forgetting the country.
No, actually, in the Middle East, I have worked for Yemen, and I have also worked for. Right now, I work for the larger Middle East, meaning I interact with quite a number of countries. But really, I have not done clinical practice there. But I know that there are countries that require nurses, like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia. I believe Lebanon. Now it's not the same anymore because Lebanon has changed greatly, and even Jordan. But my favorite, of course, will always be Qatar. I don't know why. I just like Qatar. I find it more open and more civilized in a way. I also have a friend who works there as a nurse from South Africa, and she works in Qatar as a nurse, and she has a very good deal. And I think I'll say it here. She earns a salary of $6,000 every month. They give her a house to stay in. They take her children to international schools, and her job is to walk to a hospital and give nursing services. So what am I saying? The opportunities are there. I was even looking online another day. I think I was sent an email of opportunities that are there in Qatar, and the terms are just like that: good salary, good living conditions, and also better allowances if you look at it per se. And I don't see why not. If a country like Qatar is not stopping you from being who you are, and also it's very close home. Qatar is 5 hours from here.
It's 5 hours.
With 100,000, you have a return ticket to Qatar and back in a good airline. So it is not very complicated even to have a connection with home. I think there are also some values, especially if you have a family that we share, that are really, really important to many of us. If you're raising children, that are easier for you to enforce when you're in Qatar than when you're in the Western world, if that is a concern for you. So I think we should explore it. And I have someone sent me a list of agencies that are taking people to Qatar and wherever. And I think people should find that information around and see what is possible and what is not possible. Because also I understand the processing for Qatar, for wherever, for this Middle Eastern country is not as long as it is for the West.
For the West, yeah, that's true.